Hello, this is Paul Chek, and today I thought I would talk a little bit about communicating with plants, trees, and stones. This is the board work from my Zen in the Garden class we just had here this weekend at the Heaven House. And this is one of the exercises I sometimes take students through to help them understand how it is that a human being can communicate with a plant, animal, tree, or actually anything for that matter, even when it seems illogical that we would be able to do that. So what I wanted to do is just share a sort of a way of thinking about this that might give you a different perspective on why crazy people like me say they can communicate with plants, trees, and stones and other things. What I had my students do was a little exercise. The 5 elements represent what creation is made of as a sort of a general grouping. So earth, all things earthly are made of stones. Water, you know what water is. Fire, that equates to warmth and metabolism in the body. Air is the air element. Then we have space, which is in the Chinese system is called, in some systems called ether. So what we have then is pretty much everything is made of these things. All the cars and trees and houses are all a composition of earth, water, fire, air, and space. These are also names that represent levels of vibrational octaves. So just like you have do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, you could essentially say this is just a slightly different grouping, like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, and there's the ti. So I had everybody guesstimate in their own impression or own opinion approximately what percentage of who they are was made of these elements. So here you can see Mike, Sebi, Paul, another Paul, Angie, Mark, and Vidya. So they gave me percentages. So we can say, I said, Mike, how much earth are you? Mike said 60%. Water, 55%. Fire, 85%. Air, 40%. And notice every one of them we got over 100, which doesn't really matter. This is more of a mental exercise and it needs to be academically correct because you pretty much get to the same location. So what we saw is that everybody here, essentially without realizing it, stated that 100% of them was somewhere in these elements. I asked everybody how much of you is space, and they all said 100. So if you're 100% space and you're also this element, that means there's more than one of you there, which is interesting. But there's a question mark here. I will ask you to do what I asked them. Hold your hand up. Now tell me what you're looking at. Most of you just thought or said, my hand. The question is, who is it that's in possession of the hand? The answer to that is the answer to the question mark, because the hand is made of earth, water, fire, air, and space, as is the rest of your body, but most people will find that what they think they are is consumed by their percentages and elements, which excludes something that cannot be weighed or measured, and that is the consciousness within you, and another name for consciousness within a living organism is a soul. So then I said to them all, well, if we could get rid of your elements, and I wanted to address you. So I said, for example, Vidya, who's holding the camera, we know you're not just your elements because you're the one holding up the hand and looking at it. And we all have dreams, and in our dreams they're as real as our waking state, sometimes more real, and we actually often have bodies in dreams, and sometimes we don't, but we can move in and out of those dreams. So the question is, what is it that's dreaming? And if it's dreaming, it can have bodies and experiences that are real without actually having one. How real is this? So, as Chang Tzu says, if a man can dream he's a butterfly, what makes you think a butterfly can't dream he's a man? That's worth meditating on. So then I said to them, well, if I wanted to address you, Vidya, if I wanted to address you, I said, without your elements, what direction would I go in to address you? Would I say, Vidya, I would like to talk to you? Vidya, Would I go north, south, east, west, above, below? Where would I go? Well, interestingly enough, they all agreed that without the elements that makes up their body, that I could address them in any direction because they would be everywhere. Oh, now we come to a very interesting experience. If there's something in you beyond just physical elements, that, by the way, don't animate themselves, without those elements, where would it be? Well, every one of my students on their own power concluded it would be everywhere. Good, that means you're everywhere. And if you're everywhere, the question I have for you is, that means you're in the tree. That means you're in the stone. That means you're in the plant. And that the body that you have is creating an illusion of separation, but what makes the plant turn towards the sun and gives the plant the knowledge to nourish itself and do the things that plants and trees do, those things all equate to consciousness, and whatever level of consciousness is in a rock is really yourself, and the rock doesn't necessarily even have to be conscious, because if you are everything, you're really talking to yourself. You're asking the rock of yourself, where are you? You're asking the creation of your own art, which is an expression of yourself, where's the next piece? Well, you ask yourself questions all the time and you don't think that's weird. Well, once you realize that you're more than your rocks and your plants, you're the consciousness that infuses all of them, then it doesn't seem so weird to talk to rocks, plants, or anything else. So I hope you've enjoyed my little video clip, and I hope you take the time to really meditate on this stuff. Think about it. I'd love to hear what you think when you go through this little meditation, and maybe you'll come to one of my Zen in the Garden workshops or an HLC workshop where I actually teach you how to access your own soul and develop a deep personal relationship with that which looks through your eyes, and mine too. See you soon.